None of us can know God completely in this life, but some people can have a very distorted picture of God from the things maybe that they've picked up as a child. One example of that is Nadia Bolz-Weber, who's now a Lutheran pastor, but she shares her story in the video just to the left of this one on the website. She says that she was taught to fear an angry and capricious God who was basically disappointed in her for being a human being. Sadly, I've met too many people that have grown up with a view of God that's negative like that and have turned away from him, as Nadia herself did. Watch the video on the left of this one and you'll hear in her story how she moves away from God and then how she moves back to him again when she discovers that her image of him was wrong, if the picture she had of what God was like was wrong. Conversely, sometimes people have the image of God as being like an ineffectual Jesus that's all meek and mild and gets killed for saying the wrong things in the wrong places. Other people see God as distant and uninterested in this world. Maybe he made the world and then stood back, waiting to see what happens, cold, distant, unmoved by the plight of humanity. Maybe the same sort of detached curiosity that one of us may have about the activities of ants in an ant farm. But the Bible paints a vastly different picture of God to all of the above. So how can we know what God is truly like? Close your eyes for a moment and just hold an image in your mind of someone that you know loves you deeply. If you were to describe that person to someone else who didn't know them, you might start with their height and age and their hair colour, but you'd probably quickly move on to their character and personality. And perhaps in time talk about how their love makes you feel. The writers in the Bible are writing about experiences that they or other people have had with God. And the overall consistent theme that comes out is that God is love. The Apostle John sums it up in one of his letters. He says, God is love, and those who live in love live in God, and God lives in them. We catch a glimpse of that love, or to put it another way, a glimpse of God's glory, when we have those times when we feel overwhelmed with love and gratitude. Times when we're stunned by the beauty of nature, maybe a sunset, or at the birth of a child, or when we're enjoying laughter with a good friend, or when something we've done has made a real difference for someone, or when we're using our gifts and talents to the best of our ability, or when we care for another person, or when someone else cares for us, and so many more. We have these moments when we sense something greater than us in the love we receive and give. And these are glimpses of God's glory, glimpses of what God is like, revelations about the nature of God. Christians believe that the most complete revelation we have of God is in the person of Jesus Christ. Jesus, we say, was God himself coming to live among us and reveal most completely what God is like. So, as Rob Bell says in the other video over to the left on the website, in Jesus' compassion and courage and truth-telling and humility and generosity and sacrifice, that's what God is like. That's who God is. But who is Jesus? Did he really exist in history, or was he just a myth? Was he just a great teacher that came up with a few good sayings that people liked? Or was he a prophet that pointed towards God but wasn't actually God himself? Or was he something more than all those? Who is Jesus is the topic for next week's series of talks. I hope you can join us.